Oh.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for attending our regular scheduled first of the year Board of County Commissioners meeting, January 20th, 2026. Thank you for joining us this morning. We could please start with an invocation with Pastor Gary Siemens of Winkler Road Baptist Church. Gary, Pastor, please come forward. Please stand for the invocation, and after that, we'll call the pledge of allegiance. If I could ask, though, before the invocation, we have a moment of silence. Recently, we lost 2 county employees, Rob Roth from County Signs, and also David Level, who spent many, many years, decades here at Lee County in different departments, and we lost their lives. So we could have a moment of silence for them, please. Pastor, thank you.
Lord, we come to you this morning and we do pray for these families that lost loved ones recently. And Lord, may you comfort and encourage their hearts in these difficult days. Lord, we do thank you for a beautiful day today. Thank you for how you blessed our county. Thank you, Lord, that this last year there were no hurricanes that affected us, Lord, and what a blessing and help to us that has been. Thank you for these men and ladies who are serving you with their time and their talent. And Lord, most of all, we thank you that though we have broken your law many times, you loved us enough to send your Son that he might die for us, that we might have eternal life. And Lord, we are a blessed people, and we thank you for that. Now, as this meeting is undertaken today, I pray you'd give these men and women wisdom. May they deal righteously. Lord, may they please you in all the decisions they make today. Bless our county, I pray. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Thank you. Please join us in the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. Our next event is starting off our new year, and obviously doing the swearing in for our newest county commissioner, Trish Petrushka. And she has here with her family here. Trish, you could join us here in the front for your swearing in.
I, Patricia Petrosky, do solemnly swear that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and to the state of Florida, that I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state, and that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of Commissioner for Lee County, Florida, on which I am about to enter. So help me God.
Commissioner, please address us.
I just wanted to take a moment real quick and just first and foremost give all glory to God and give a few thank yous to those that I could not be here today if not for your help and support. So thank you to Governor DeSantis for my appointment and for placing your trust in me to represent and to represent and serve the great people of Lee County. Thank you to my husband, Josh, our kids, Bryce, Brody, and Bowen, my mama and my siblings, Julie, John, and Tom, my brother-in-law, Scott, and my niece, Kate, and nephew, Alex, my Nana and Mimi, and my sister-in-law, Kaylin. You not only stood by me today, but have been with me from the beginning, and you never wavered in your support, love, and encouragement. If I could only change one thing, it was to be that my dad would be here today to see his little girl. To my fellow commissioners, I sincerely look forward to working with each of you. Each of you brings a proven record of leadership and a valuable perspective that has already strengthened our county. And I look forward to working together for the betterment of Lee County as well. I sincerely thank Dave Harner, Richard Wesch, and Stacy Rowland and the entire administration for getting me briefed and prepared. I look forward to getting to know my constituents and bringing their voices to the Board of County Commission. My first listening tour date is tomorrow, and I want to hear directly from our residents. My #1 commitment to the people of Lee County is simple. I will not let you down. Thank you so much for coming today.
We could get a group picture down.
Oh.
If I could, we have to do this every couple of years. And what a good way to start the year off. Congratulations. We will welcome you, so we look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much.
So first proclamation we have the Valerie's House. But Angela and the group come up this morning. I have a proclamation to read for Valerie's House. Just come on down here by the podium and I'll read the proclamation, then we'll come up for a quick picture and I'm sure we'll hear a few words from Angela then. Morning, Mayor. Where the proclamation reads, whereas Valerie's House was founded in 2016 in Fort Myers by Fort Myers native Angela Melvin, inspired by her personal experience of losing her mother, Valerie Melvin, also a Fort Myers resident at a young age, I believe Pine Island, correct. Whereas what began as a simple grief support group has now grown into a regional leader in children's bereavement care in Valerie's House, offering free, compassionate programs for grieving children and families throughout Southwest Florida. Whereas over the past decade, Valerie's House has served thousands of these children and caregivers through its welcoming, healing environment where individuals can express emotions, share memories, and find hope after the death of a loved one. Whereas the success of Valerie's House has been made possible in part with dedicated and trained staff and volunteers, as well as individual and business supporters, and successful partnerships forged with local schools, hospitals, and Lee County government. Whereas Valerie's House, the organization, a program provides additional one-on-one mentorship to children, pairing them with positive adult role models to trust, support, emotional growth, and reinforce community bonds. And whereas now therefore resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lee County, Florida does here recognize and commend Valerie's House for its unwavering dedication in 10 years of service to grieving children and families in our region. The board encourages all residents of Lee County to join in honoring this milestone to support and continue mission of Valerie's House to assure that no child grieves alone. Duly executed by myself, Cecil Pendergrass. Please come forward. Thank you. come on up, everybody, and we'll get a group picture here. And then I'm sure Angela wants to address this afterwards. Thank you. Thank you. Just everybody's got to hear you, Angela. We have a lot of good things to talk
Do you
about.
need a do I need a microphone or just?
It's on.
It's right there. Well, everyone is sitting down, and I'm so glad that they stood up with me because this is the real heart behind Valerie's House. This is the staff. This is the board. These are family members. These are teens who have grown up in the program, who are now in college, who are dedicating their life to helping others grieving. This is the community right here. All of you behind us that have heard of Valerie's House, that have referred families to Valerie's House, law enforcement, school leaders, parents. This entire region has made Valerie's House what it is for the past 10 years. Leaders came forward with me 10 years ago. Many of you were right there with me when we started and said, we're going to support you. We need this in our region, and we're going to make sure that it's here for a very long time. 10 years doesn't seem like a long time, right, in the history of something, but it is for us. I've seen many of these kids grow up. And now I am so proud to call them Valerie's House teens and Valerie's House, hopefully, future leaders of our organization. We could not do this without the community support. This is a homegrown nonprofit in the city of Fort Myers and in the county here, and we are going to be spreading across the state and helping other communities rise up as well. We are so proud. Thank you so much. I hope to be here well beyond 10 years. I know I will be. We know we will be. And a round of applause for the entire team here at Valerie's House. Hands up, you work at Valerie's House and the Valerie's House. All of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela, and your team for everything you do in the community. The children are so important to our community, so thank you. Next, Commissioner Maluka, you have the proclamation.
Thank you, Chair. So I'd like to welcome up the Genealogical Society, please. And I'm proud to say this is the second year in a row I've read this proclamation. Thank you. So, whereas the Lee County Genealogical Society, LCGS, was founded in 1975 and has served the residents of Lee County for 50 years by promoting the study of family history, encouraging the preservation of historical records, and supporting genealogical education. And whereas for 5 decades, LCGS has provided public programs, workshops, seminars, and special interest groups that have assisted thousands of individuals, local, national, and international, in tracing their heritage and understanding the role of genealogy in preserving family and community history. And whereas LCGS has contributed significantly to the cultural and educational life of Lee County through its long-standing partnership with the Lee County Library System, its volunteer-based research assistance, its public outreach initiatives, and its commitment to support beginner and advanced genealogists alike. And whereas genealogical research fosters intergenerational connections, strengthens community identity, helps develop critical thinking skills, and supports the preservation of Lee County's diverse heritage, making LCGS an important civic and cultural resource. And whereas, as the Society enters its 50th year, LCGS seeks to honor its founders, celebrate its accomplishments, and expand public awareness of genealogy through programs, publications, and events planned for 2026. And whereas the Lee County Board of County Commissioners recognizes the significant role of the Lee County Genealogical Society in promoting historical knowledge, lifelong learning, and community engagement, therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lee County, Florida, does hereby recognize the 50th anniversary of the Lee County Genealogical Society, honoring its 50 years of service to the residents of Lee County, and designates 2026 as the Lee County Genealogical Society's golden anniversary year, encouraging all residents to recognize the importance of genealogy in preserving family stories, local history, and the shared heritage of our community. Duly executed by our chair, Pendergrass. Please. to say a few words?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you very much for honoring us with this proclamation, the golden anniversary year of the Lee County Genealogical Society. As you might guess, none of our board members who joined me today and our library partner were here 50 years ago when this was started, but we've had 50 years of dedicated volunteers helping the community preserve their family history and discover their roots. I especially want to recognize our partner with the Fort Myers Regional Library, Tori Hirsch, the branch manager of the library, for your support, and also our very special genealogy reference librarian, Brian Mulcahy, for everything that he has done for the Lee County Genealogical Society. Thank you again for honoring our golden anniversary.
Thank you. And our next and last ceremony is recognize our county employees. We'll be going down front here with our HR staff and county manager to recognize the length of service awards. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to ask Ms. Kristen Bristol to come up and present.
Good morning. I'm Kristen Bristol from Human Resources for the Lee County Board of County Commissioners. Summer Crozier accompanies me this morning from Human Resources, along with County Manager Dave Harner. We are here this morning to present the Length of Service Awards to all eligible employees for the fourth quarter of 2025. These awards represent collectively 1,405 years of service to Lee County government. For those employees present, as I call out your name, please step forward to receive your coin from the County Manager and greet the Commissioners and the senior team. Please remain off to the side in order to take a group photo at the end of the presentation. As I start calling each group by years of service, I'll ask for everyone in that group to gather in the back. Let's get started with our 5 years of service. First off, we have Christian Arias from Fleet Management. Jen Bancroft from DCD, Development Services. Natasha Busigo from Utilities. Carmen Estrada from Utilities. April Green from the Visitor and Convention Bureau. Jennifer Gutmore from the County Attorney's Office. David Halverson from County Attorney's Office. Allison Kuiper from Public Safety. Laura Longa from Utilities. Ginger Marinell from DCD Development Services. Brianna Schroeder from DCD. Ariana Tang from Human and Veteran Services. And now can I please have our 10-year recipients stand in the back? First, we have Christopher Burns with Parks and Recreation. Lynette Cobian with Animal Services. Karen Hull with Animal Services. Cody Kavanaugh with Animal Services. Lisa Krieger with Natural Resources. Alex Priest with Public Safety. Paul Rapp with Parks and Recreation. Susan Richardson with Library. Daisy Sosa with Animal Services. Tracy Toussaint with DCD Administration and Support. And TJ Zukowski with DOT Engineering. And now can I please have our 15-year recipients gather in the back? Jill Clayson with the Library. Al Contrusi with the Library. Christina Risley with the Library. Jeannie Shadaram with Public Safety. Sarah Sheen with DCD Development Services. And now can I please have our 20-year recipients gather in the back? Way to go, Sarah. Shirley Anderson with the Library. Nina Bigler with DCD Development Services. Eric Brillhart with Facilities, Construction, George Facilla with DOT Traffic. Ron Peregrine with DOT Traffic. And Matthew Zimmerman with DOT Operations. Now can I please have our 25-year recipients? Josh Brooks with Parks and Recreation. Laura Cifelli with the Library. Laura Crockett with Library. Mark McKinnon with Transit. Michael Paget with DOT Traffic. Diana Watley with Library. We have one 30-year recipient, Catherine Vaughn from the Library. And can we have our 35-year recipients please gather? First, we have Pablo Adorno with Animal Services. And our very own Brenda Skiba with Human Resources. And Debbie Coran with Human and Veteran Services. And we have one 40-year recipient today, Keith Blassingham with Parks and Recreation. Congratulations to all of these employees, and thank you for your service to Lee County.
Good job, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
You
I
watch
worked on that all night.
Did you watch any of these meetings yet? Or we do that today? Pretty repetitive.
She was one of them.
It's all the people.
Chauncey looks like a Chauncey does.
Yeah.
See him stand up there. compared to our class.
Class 84.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Watch out. Hey, down. Stand up, buddy. Here. Yep, everybody wants money. Okay. Well, thank you to all the county employees in the celebration of over 1,400 years, I believe, of total service, and thank you to all their dedicated service to Lee County. And we'll move on with the agenda now. We have the recap. We have one item to be deferred, item number 32, award purchase to remove ice tanks at the Justice Center complex. Get a motion to defer that.
I'll move that. Second.
We have motion second. Any public comment on deferring number 32? Come back to the board. Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. We will consent items be pulled by discussion with the board. Commissioner Hammond, do you have any items to be pulled?
Yeah, I'd like to pull number 55, Mr. Chair.
Number 55. Okay. Commissioner Wayne.
No, sir.
Commissioner Flick.
I'm going to pull number 33, please.
Number 33. Commissioner Petrowski.
No, sir.
No items. Great. Thank you. Motion to approve the balance of the items.
Second.
A motion for that.
Second.
Any public comment on the items other than 55 and 33? We have a couple, I have a bunch of cards here, but a lot of the cards does not really have detailed information. So if you hear items other than 55 or 33, so Dr. Mary Heights, would you like to speak on those items? You have 20, 21, and 22. From Punta Gorda, Mary Kiss from Punta Gorda.
I do have copies of the statement, if anyone would like to have a copy. I don't know if I should give that.
You give the clerk, we have all the information though.
Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Mary Ellen Kiss. I'm the co-founder and co-chair of the Bernster Corridor Coalition. I also sit on the Community Advisory Council Committee for the Charlotte County NPO. The Bernster Corridor Coalition represents HOAs and POAs and property owners who live along the cross-jurisdictional road from Jones Loop in the city of Punta Gorda to Pine Island in the city of Cape Coral, and includes the unincorporated areas of Charlotte and Lee counties. One of the coalition's priorities is to advocate for funding for the expansion of the remaining two-lane segment of Bernster Road, located primarily in Lee, which is designated as a Tier 1 priority in the Long Range Transportation Plan. We are pleased that Lee County is moving forward with land acquisition in preparation for this expansion. Further, we encourage Lee County to work cooperatively with the coalition and other governmental jurisdictions to identify funding sources to move this project forward earlier than 2030 or 2035. In the interim, all constituents agree that improvement of road safety along the corridor, especially on the two-lane segment, is crucial. On September 30th, the coalition convened a discussion group of representatives from its membership and affected governmental jurisdictions. This was to discuss the feasibility of implementing stopgap safety measures, and a copy of the meeting summary is provided as an attachment to this testimony. These recommendations were subsequently discussed by the Lee County Advisory Committee of the MPO at its January 8th meeting. In addition to other recommendations under consideration, the Lee Community Advisory Committee suggested that the county and other jurisdictions investigate the feasibility of installing speed and traffic violation cameras at strategic locations along the corridor, as well as digitized flashing speed signs. Because I'm going to be running out of time, I would just like to summarize a couple of other things. One is that we would also like to advocate for exploring the feasibility of installing illumination at key intersections along the corridor. We think that this would be very, very helpful. We do support the recommendations that Mr. Price and his staff have made to the Commission in terms of ways to improve safety along the corridor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker was Marcia Ellis on items either 41 or 67, I believe.
Thank you. Good morning, Marcia Ellis for the record, and I'm speaking on 4 items. I will also say that I'm in support of fast-tracking the unsafe conditions at Burnt Store in that corridor as soon as possible. I'm speaking on item 41, item 59, item 67, and I'm going to start with the last item, which is 68. That's the CDBGDR item, which is really well put together. I appreciate the detail. However, there's still a little bit of ambiguity on a few things. First of all, with D, which is awarding monies for the CRS, the Watershed Planning Study. Those are basin-oriented studies. We already have part of the Calusa Basin has been done as part of the pilot program with FAU. So I'm just asking for some more information about what basins and what the scope of this work is, if there's going to be coordination with municipalities, et cetera. More detail there. I'm really excited about the East Lee Hub. I am still concerned about the Lee Cares program and the trying to identify what kind of barriers have kept people from coming forward with so many people having need and a number of people calling in. It seems like that something happened, like with the buyback. The buyout program. There was some sort of barrier that I think has prevented participation, full participation, and award that needs to be identified. From there, I'm going to go to the 67, which is looking at the cost-benefit analysis at our water supply out on Corkscrew and Green Meadows, which is my area. I know it well. I know it intimately. Let me just say that, you know, reconciling this with what took place with the Lower West Coast Water Supply document and the adoption of that in 2022, that we need to have full disclosure with the public about what kinds of strategies are degrading our water supply and putting in these alternative methods in the DRGR. I'm on well, and people who are in the rural areas, we don't want to have sewage pumped in from outside in these developing parts of the county that are going to degrade our wells, and these methods need to be fully disclosed to the public. Next, this is for, ironically called the FDOT Alico Road Widening Funding, when there is not a widening of the road. We're looking at a 2-lane connection up to dangerous State Road 82. Faster and cheaper is bad for Lee County. It will create a situation like you're trying to dig out of on Burnt Store, and I ask that something be done about that. The county is not operating with an AC/DC mentality of dirty deeds done dirt cheap. We want quality roads. Next, on this is the last one, 41, on Larry Kiker. Folks have been asking for there to be plans for how that park is going to be used, that the community be brought in to how that resource is made available to the public, and I just ask that that happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You know, the other speakers on the consent agenda, items other than 33 and 55? We'll come back to the board. We have a motion and a second. Any in favor of the consent? Any objections? No objection. Okay, next. Commissioner Hamm, you want to go ahead and take 55?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 55, let me turn to that real quick. This is something we heard at the Metropolitan Planning Organization meeting at our last one. And as we were listening to the presentation at the meeting, I had an idea that I thought I wanted to share with you commissioners, and so I'll share it today. But basically, the item is asking us to adopt Lee Transit Development Plan for 2026 through 2035. As we were watching the presentation on the transit development plan, they talked about developing a route on Pine Island Road in Cape Coral. And the route was scheduled to be developed in the year 2033. If you look at the development that's happening along that corridor, Pine Island Road and Cape Coral, there's a ton of new commercial going in, a ton of restaurants and shops and exciting things coming in from an economic development standpoint. But on top of that, there are also a lot of apartment complexes that have now been built along that route of Pine Island Road and Cape Coral. And so my thought is, where you've got the density of people living in the apartment complexes and you've got the density of commercial, it makes perfect sense to run a bus up and down there so that they don't have to add more trips onto Pine Island Road. They could just maybe hop on the bus and carpool down to whatever their favorite restaurant is that they want to go to that night. And so my request is this, just to pass the motion today as requested, but to give staff direction to look for ways to expedite that Pine Island Road corridor route. I did have a chance to meet with staff before the meeting. They said there are actually service development grants available. We've been very successful in getting these service development grants over the years. And so they think there's probably grant dollars available that they could use to expedite the route. So with that, Mr. Harner or maybe Mr. Cody, if you guys wanted to cover anything else as part of that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With the service development grant, the only thing I'd like to add is that is typically a 3-year grant, and it is a 50%, so it's a 50% match. So we're very successful in those grants. We've done it with the downtown trolley. We've done it with, I believe, MOD, Mobility on Demand as well. So we've been very successful with that particular grant.
Okay. So with that, Commissioners, I'll just make a motion for approval of the item as presented, but with direction to staff to please do all they can to expedite that route that would go along Pine Island Road and Cape Coral.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion?
Can I ask you a quick question? How much money and time does it take for a project like this to be successful, to design a bus route?
Yeah, Commissioner, I believe the soonest we would be able to bring this online would be 29. Correct. So I think part of the motion would be to bring something back to the board for the board to review the cost and timing, correct?
Yep, I'll add that to my motion, absolutely.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Come back forward, any other direction, any questions? Any objections? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. Actually, I'm sorry, public comment on this item number 55. Any public comment on 55? Okay, forward, any objections? Motion carries. Commissioner Malooka, number 33.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So people often ask me when I'm out and about, how are things going? And so I like to point out when things are going right, because I say there's a lot of things going right around here in Lee County. So I wanted to thank staff for this project. So the contract amendment to remodel the admin building east second floor for solid waste to move in there. Manager Harner, would you like to just give a brief overview of the project description?
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to ask Mr. Gurgis to come out and present that item.
Good morning, Commissioner. Ehab Gurgis, Construction Management. So you asked about the budget for this project. Yes, we have the amount of that money in our budget to execute that job.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a brief description of who's moving in there, what's the purpose?
So solid waste are moving in. We're gonna build 18 offices for them, and also VCB are expanding, so we're gonna add 8 offices for them, in additional to a meeting room and some other break rooms and restrooms.
Okay. No, so I often like to applaud Ehab on his great work, and I just wanted to point out a couple highlights that caught my attention and applaud this. So the solid waste department is a key integral part of our government operations, and to have them side by side with administration in times of need of gray skies and post-emergency, I think is really important and an upgrade for communications from where we were before. They were kind of in temporary quarters after a storm. So I think this is great, but a couple of construction highlights. I wanted to applaud Ehab on his negotiations here. We did a GMP, which is a guaranteed maximum price contract, so it's fixed not to exceed, with a 10% contingency at $175 a square foot.
Correct.
So anywhere from $160 to $175 a square foot is a very, very good number for a government remodel. A 6-month timeline.
Yes.
Also very good. And we own this building, so it's nice that we're spending money on our own house
Correct.
To upgrade such an important facility. So and the GC fee was only 6.5%. So,
Correct.
well done. I just want to point out a good news item for something that's going right. This is a quick, responsive, shovel-ready project that's going to help a lot of our government operations, and I always like to show off EHAB whenever.
Thank you,
whenever I
Commissioner.
can. So,
Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'd like to make a motion to approve the item. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any public comment on item 33? Public boarding objection? No objection, motion carried. Thank you. Move on to the administrative agenda, number 68.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is to provide direction for Lee County Hurricane Ian CDBGDR program, and I'd like to ask Ms. Nicole Turner to present the item.
Good morning, Commissioners. This morning's discussion surrounding Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery, or CDBG-DR monies, will primarily be focused on your Hurricane Ian grant, although there will be some slight overlap into Helene and Milton. This first slide here provides you with a high-level overview of where your program allocations are at this time. From the beginning, these funds have been dedicated to making an impact on affordable housing throughout our community. The Lee Cares Individual Housing Recovery Program had far-reaching impacts with over 17,000 direct mailers sent, over 41,000 door knocks, 12,670 calls received at our call center, and we've made over 3,400 calls from that call center. We've participated in 36 housing outreach events. As a result, we ended up for our housing rehab, reconstruction, and elevation program. This is direct assistance to low to moderate income families who had damage or destruction of their homes from Hurricane Ian and have a funding gap for repair or recovery. We had over 3,000 applications. We have 848 active applications at this time. Of those, 601 have made it through eligibility and have awards, and we have completed 347 homes. You also have your home purchase assistance program under individual housing recovery. This is for first-time low to moderate income home buyers. We had 756 total applications. To date, we have closed on 107 homes. We have 11 active applications still in the system. As a reminder, these two programs under Hurricane Ian are closed for new applications. However, the housing rehab, reconstruction, and elevation program continues to accept applications under Hurricanes Helene and Milton. The board's commitment to affordable housing is further demonstrated by these 25 projects that were awarded throughout Lee County for affordable housing development, both affordable rental housing, single-family homes, and preservation of multifamily housing. Those that are shown here in green have closed on their loans and are underway and under construction. The ones that are in yellow have anticipated closings with a clear path to those closings. If all 25 construction projects are completed as planned, this would result in 2,782 new affordable multi-unit rental units within our housing inventory in the community, 54 new single-family homes available for purchase by low to moderate income families, and the preservation of 836 multifamily rental units in need of rehabilitation. Several of our housing projects are making excellent progress, as you can see here by these photos. In fact, McNeil Village, which is in the bottom right-hand corner, this is a Habitat for Humanity project. They have their first closing this week on a home. Recovery is, of course, supported by critical infrastructure and public facilities throughout our community. We have 33 active infrastructure and public facilities projects throughout the county, between county projects and those that were awarded to our municipal partners and their sub-grantees. We have 4 underway under Helene and Milton that are county projects. Of course, this is the heart of what we are here to discuss today. Under the housing allocation, there are some considerations for reallocation that we would like to discuss. The items that are in bold blue are currently available for reallocation. These projects have been withdrawn and the funds need reallocation. Also, under home purchase assistance, even with those 11 applications that are still awaiting closings, even if everyone got maximum award, is a surplus in funds there that are ready for reallocation. Anything in red would require board action to make those funds available for reallocation, and that sort of yellow gold piece at the bottom for Lee Cares. This is anticipated surplus in our individual housing Lee Cares program. Now, this is an estimate based on where we are today. We have applications that are still in the pipeline, going through various stages of eligibility checks and damage assessments, but this is our best guess as of today based on what we have in the pipeline. Depending on the board's action, you have potentially up to just under $108 million for reallocation. Considering the potential availability of funding for reallocation, these are some potential projects that the board might want to consider. This chart is broken into 3 sections. At the top, we have items that staff is recommending for award today. There are then additional project considerations and a new affordable housing activity. So I'll go through these as efficiently as I can. First, we have the Moss Marina Booster Pump Relocation Project. This is an awarded project that is currently in design. It directly benefits the town of Fort Myers Beach and supports their drinking water system. Relocation of this booster pump will improve the resiliency and function of the water flow into Fort Myers Beach. Although the attached pipe has not reached the end of its useful life and it is currently stable, hydraulic modeling by the engineer of record has determined that replacement of 800 linear feet of water main is essential for the success of the project based on the increased water pressure, which is a good thing, but it will need to be replaced. That's a $3 million ask. The second item under recommended awards is for $3 million over 3 years to expand behavioral health services in the county through Centerstone Behavioral Health and Addiction Services. Disaster-related mental health needs increased significantly under Hurricane Ian, and the situation was, of course, further exacerbated by Hurricanes Helene and Milton. This funding supports the coordinated wraparound services for long-term recovery that Centerstone provides, and because Centerstone operates a federal demonstration program, success here sets them up for the potential for continuing federal funding for them to provide services within Lee County. Third, staff recommends allocating $1 million to Lee County for a planning study. It's the Community Rating System, or CRS, Watershed Planning Study for unincorporated Lee County. It will be structured to meet key CRS criteria and could allow the county to earn up to 60 CRS points, which is what we would need to reach a Class 4 rating. If this comes to fruition, achieving Class 4 status would result in an estimated 30% reduction in flood insurance premiums, which would translate into approximately $18 million in annual savings for Lee County residents. Fourth, here is a new award for funds to the Salvation Army for the acquisition of a permanent facility in East Lee County so that they can establish their East Lee Hope Hub. Following a prior board discussion where the Salvation Army approached the board and proposed this project, the board directed staff to work with the Salvation Army to determine whether or not the purchase was eligible for DR funding. The ask is $1,450,000 for that acquisition. Beyond those 4 that staff is recommending for award today, we've provided a list of additional project considerations, including 2 stormwater management projects essential to the Sunshine Boulevard expansion project. And at the bottom of that list for additional project considerations, you'll see the Helene Milton Housing Rehab and Reconstruction. This is your Lee Cares program for Helene and Milton. It's serving individuals with damage to their homes. While we discussed a surplus under Ian, we have a shortfall potentially under Helene Milton. Again, we are still accepting applications. We have applications in the pipeline, so we are estimating about $10 million in shortfall there. And then finally, at the bottom of the screen is a potential affordable housing activity. The board directed staff to review the Tolls Garden project and bring this back for consideration. The requested funding for that project is $19.5 million. And so here's a summary of the action and direction that we need from the board today. It's a lot, please bear with me. We are asking that the board rescind funding for the LCEC Cherry Estates project. This project will continue, however, LCEC identified different funding for the project. It's a little easier to do it not under DR, so they identified that funding. We would need the board to formally rescind the award so that this could be reallocated. Also, the county's community revitalization funding plan was initially conceived to help staff understand how to structure management of program income under DR to be reinvested in affordable housing. But through our work with HUD technical assistance and the addition of staff with relevant experience in the revolving loan process, we no longer feel that it's necessary to hire a consultant to assist us with that. That would free up another $100,000 if you formally rescind that award. As discussed, we're asking for an increase to the award for Moss Marina Booster Pump Station relocation and new funding awards for the Centerstone Mental Health and Addiction Services Project, the CRS Watershed Planning Study, and property acquisition for the Salvation Army's East Lee Hope Hub. And then finally, staff is asking the board for direction for the reallocation of excess Lee Cares housing, rehab, restoration, and home purchase assistance funding under Hurricane Ian, remembering that there is a shortfall for Lee Cares under Hurricanes Helene and Milton. 2 multifamily housing development projects with no clear path to closing, that's Helms Bay and Residences 2. Direction on the Tolls Garden single-family housing project, which the board asked us to bring back for consideration, the potential award of new projects, and finally, direction for the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. That's a program under FEMA. It pairs nicely with a 25% local match from CDBG DR funds. You have reserved funds under CDBG DR to match these HMGP projects for both the county and our municipal partners. However, we applied for those projects, we and the municipalities, it's about 2.5 years since we made those applications. We have not received, we've received very few funding determinations. So the future for that is a little uncertain, especially with the timeline. At this point, even if HMGP projects were awarded today, it is highly unlikely that we can complete infrastructure projects within the period of performance for your Hurricane Ian grant. So the board may want to consider submitting an extension request to HUD to extend the funding under DR to allow more time should those projects come to fruition. And with that, I will turn the floor back over to the board.
I have a question real quick, and maybe Dave can answer it, or you can answer it. We kind of skipped over the top 3 additional projects. One of those was actually the Mike Greenwell Regional Park area, the old Civic Center, 45 to 60 million. So staff can maybe, who would be best to give us a little overview of what that would totally include if we had a motion that actually included the top 3 additional projects. What would that be for the Civic Center in East Lee County, Norfolk Marsh?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to ask Mr. Salyer to present that item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The project there contemplates the construction of a multi-use facility. You could think of this much on the order of what we have at the Estero Recreation Center, for instance. It would be modeled on that sort of facility. And then given how much money might be available for the project, we could also do other ancillary improvements to the existing buildings and perhaps add some amenities like walking trails and those sorts of things as well.
If we didn't do this, what would happen if we didn't have the funding for this project, the Civic Center, the Mike Greenville Park? Would we be able to use it in the future, or is it going to be pretty much almost shut down in the future, basically, due to the conditions?
Mr. Chair, with the building, I believe we have programmed over the next 3 years for maintenance of that building is roughly around $15 million. So all that would do is just keep the building in the usable shape that it is currently right now.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Commissioner White?
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you for the presentation, great job. Couple things. So, just for the record, we're going to apply for every potential extension we can have on this. We've run into a lot of unusual situations. I think the public understands that. There's a lot of pressure regarding this. I think what's really important for everyone to understand is that we're doing everything we can. And as someone that, this is near and dear to my heart. I've certainly been in government housing, so I understand how important it is. And I would certainly want to make sure we move forward with every opportunity we have for any type of housing whatsoever. The list is comprehensive. Certainly met with the people from Taos Garden. Appreciate everything, supportive of that. There also was a withdrawal from CHR in Sanibel, the Spoonbill. Last night, they recently continued to interact with Glenn, and they're looking to obviously purchase the fish house on Sanibel, so we were going to allocate them $5 million. There's a limitation per unit that we have. I know they wanted a higher amount of money, but with the limitation in mind, having worked with Glenn, it's 9.75, $9,750,000. That's the most they can receive because there is a limit of $250,000 per unit. So I can't go beyond that, but I'm happy with everything you're trying to do. I think in addition to that, this board has looked at opportunities to make sure these projects get forward. And I also want to try to be cognizant of that in the environment we're in, costs are running over. And we want to certainly make sure they finish their project. These projects are very complicated. Stack funding is one that's required for many partners, but when you run over, it becomes somewhat difficult. This board in the past has certainly been cognizant of that. We've been very flexible in allowing some additional capacity. We did it with the Sanibel Police Station. I'd like that to keep in our mind as we go through this project, but in addition to everything you've asked for, I would certainly like to include the Sanibel Fish House in the request for 9.750. I would just like staff to continue to work with them because I think it's an important project. No secret that I certainly governed on Sanibel for a long time. But for over 30 years, my family has certainly been very supportive of CHR, from my father-in-law to myself and now my wife. It's just too important. They understand some of the opportunities I had as a young person, and obviously to hand up to people certainly gives them an opportunity to do the things they did. I look at where things have turned out for me, and I can't believe that at one point in time I needed some assistance, and today I'm in a very great situation. So my motion is to approve all these items, including Sanibel, for staff, just to work with Sanibel on the item for CHR, the fish house for 9.750, which is the most they could receive, and that'll be my motion.
Would that include any of the additional projects?
All the projects that are presented to us.
Can I ask you a question? There was another group that presented a potential new project to me at Barrett Park. That isn't on your list of any potential projects, but I'd like to at least have that on the...
I'll amend that to include that. That's a great project, and I appreciate you, Commissioner Mulligan.
Now, just to make sure I'm on the right approach, if we try to do all three new projects and everything that's on this list, we're going to be upside down from my quick math on this. I don't think we have enough money to do all of these additional project considerations and these new affordable housing, so...
I may be mistaken. Glenn, is that the case?
Yeah, Commissioners, so could we go back to the slide with the, yeah, this one right here. So you roughly have a little short of $70 million currently available to you.
Okay.
If you want the additional funding in red, you would have to formally rescind the Helms Bay and the Residences 2 awards.
Could you go to the next slide, please? I'll amend my motion. So Go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
I'm agreeing with you. I wish we could have everything, but the way it was explained to me, the $8 million and $99 million would spend everything on the revenue side that was on the first page of 107 would be spent before we got to the new affordable housing activity, the way it was explained to me. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. If you add up the projects on the list there, it would exhaust all of your funding before you get to the projects that were just articulated, the Tolles Garden, the Sanibel project, and the Barrett Park projects. So you're going to have to balance those and mix and match and tell us which ones you want to do.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. This is why I actually had some heartburn during my briefing too, because this additional project consideration list was a list that our staff came up with, and it's a good list. I really appreciate the recommendations or the suggestions and everything like that. But you know, this money was from HUD. It's CDBG DR money from HUD. It was meant for low to moderate income housing projects, and so we've got 3 opportunities for low to moderate income housing projects in the Barrett Park, the CHR, and the Tolles Gardens here. And the way this is being presented to us, it's saying, well, no, these other additional projects are going to take precedent over the housing projects. And in my opinion, I agree with Commissioner Ruane, the way he laid out the motion. I would like to see all 3 of those projects, the CHR, the Tolles Garden, and the Barrett Park explored. And then we can look at the additional projects and see what we can fill in, I think, with the surplus that's left over. But that's where my head's at on those.
I appreciate the clarification. Certainly, my request is to make sure we do housing first and foremost. That's what this grant was for. That's what we need to achieve. I don't know that the same type of pressures and some of the considerations in getting them going if any of the projects fall short. I think there's some runway that we have, and I want to make sure we maximize housing. Commissioner Hammond always does a much better job of articulating the whole situation, much better. I'm glad I have a TV person next to me. It works really, really well. But yeah, I couldn't agree more with the way it was stated. And Commissioner Malika, I appreciate the Barrett housing. That was really important, and that's important to me as well. In the spirit of what this is, I'll reconsider and rephrase my motion. I'd like to move forward with the items, obviously, in number 1, the recommended awards at 8.4. I'd like to include Tolles Garden. I'd like to include Barrett Apartments. I'd like to include CHR. And then maybe, I don't know if there's time sensitive or not, we could look at some of these other projects that are remaining and then prioritize those. I think it's important to, if we do have a opportunity to extend this with any type of extension, the first goal we need to have is make sure that we've exhausted every opportunity to maximize housing in this community. It's interesting, the situation we're in, and maybe the public may not be aware, we've actually had developers give our money back. We're in a tight time frame right now, and quite frankly, it seems like a lifetime ago when I walked around in Fort Myers Beach with the Assistant Secretary of HUD, but there's a 6-year requirement from when we received the award to have these not only built but occupied. And that's the rub in this situation. So you had developers and people not having confidence they could do so. Let us continue to try to maximize and do what we can to see what extensions we can get. Housing is first and foremost. So for clarity, I'll have the recommended items at $8.4 million, the Tolles Garden, the Barrett housing complex, as well as CHR included first and foremost. If there's not any urgency today that we have to finish the additional considerations, maybe what we can do is get a list of what's remaining, what projects look like. There might be some more time too, that those projects, the 2 projects are consideration that are in red, for over $20 million, may actually really have some more clarity. We can see where we are, and then we might be able to go to the projects that are remaining to see what's left over, because the difference between another $40 million or not is going to be significant in what we'll do. But that's a revision of my motion.
I'll second your motion.
Do we have a motion and a second?
Are we going to have public input?
Yeah, we have a stack of cards. Commissioner Wilkie had a question.
There was one other project I'd like to add to this. I think is an easy and relatively small one considering. Habitat for Humanity, as you know, had 2 projects that fell out, and they voluntarily and early surrendered about $31 million. They have a small ask to an existing project called White Coral for about $100,000 to approve an environmental biological assessment cost that was not in the original proposal of a $6.5 million one. So I'd like us to consider adding that amendment of $100,000 to Habitat, please, for that project.
I'll make that amendment.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Mr. Dirk.
I just wanted to add that I fully support everything in this package that we've added, and I intend to, vote in favor of it. But I just, I want to be sure, representing District 5, that it has a strong voice, and that some of these projects that did not make the initial cut, what can we salvage? Is there a way we can revisit it? Maybe it's a conversation we can have with staff. Just so that, there is a huge need for infrastructure projects out in District 5. So I just want to make sure that we can exhaust all of those options as well, in discussion or otherwise.
County Manager, you respond to that?
Mr. Chair, I think I just need a little bit of clarity on the motion. I apologize. I think I missed the residents and Helms. Was the motion to move away from those two, or was the motion to continue to work? Because I believe if we continue to work with them, it changes the amount we have available, correct? For the 3 projects or the 4 projects now that we've supported.
Yeah, we go from 107 to 67 without.
I guess what I was trying to understand is if we have, and again, this is where staff could assist, do we have any opportunities to continue to keep things in play? They obviously may fall off. It's $40 million, but I'm hearing about extensions, I'm hearing about other things. And the reality on these projects is that developers know what they can and can't do. Stack funding is very complicated. We have those 2 projects in red. Before we actually X them off, it looks like they're not going to certainly make the grade, but if we have any opportunity to give them any additional consideration, I'd like to do that. They're up for consideration. No different than Towers, Ferret, and CHR all have to work through our process and obviously check all the boxes. So it's not like we've given people the opportunity to maximize housing. That's what our intent is. Okay? I want to make sure we go through that process. Infrastructure is so important, and I appreciate the Commissioner in District 5. I couldn't be more supportive of infrastructure, but housing has to trump this. This was a housing award, and any opportunities we can to help our community, I think, is essential and first and foremost. But there is some cloudiness and extensions and things of that nature, so I'm not necessarily certain if today we need to kill those 2 projects in red at $20 million.
Mr. Chair?
What?
No, Commissioner, with 2 things. So with the extension, I think the motion encompasses filing for the extension request.
Yes.
And HUD had told us that we were way too early. They don't typically do that until you're going into the final year of the program. We've prevailed upon them because of the FEMA HMGP situation, that they will at least entertain it. If they do extend that, that does extend the performance period for the entire grant. And so ultimately that could help housing projects that are behind. However, the thing that it doesn't solve is the expiration of the urgent need waiver in May. And so that's sort of the deadline whereby we need to have our projects sorted out if they're not going to be low, moderate income projects. And so, to your question about giving those projects additional runway, absolutely, there's still some time. I think we would need to, if you want to potentially reprogram the funds, though, we would really need to know by the end of March, because they have to be entered into HUD's system and the whole thing.
Thank you. Follow up, Mr. Chair. So really my thought and thinking is, knowing that there's a potential for extensions, I just wanted to make sure we give every solitary opportunity for housing. Okay, let's do that. It also is helpful when you get these charts, and I pride myself in understanding numbers, but they become somewhat fuzzy, because what we can do in the February meeting is get an update, look at what these look like. We'll have another month underneath our belt. We'll look at what the two $20 million projects look like. And we can kind of clear the deck, if you will, say what we have, because there also may be, and there's some projects in yellow too, so we don't know what's going to happen. They may actually fall off as well. They may come to us. It wouldn't be the first developer to say, thank you for the grant, we can't get it done, we don't have tax credits, we don't have funding, we don't have other pieces. Not our piece, but the other piece is essential for them to do that. So my motion is to try to move housing projects forward. My motion is to try to make sure we have clarity on this. get the extension necessary, as well as making sure we look at this again in February. And listen, all three projects that in my motion, and including Mr. Mullica's number 4, all 4 projects are things that we will look at and they will obviously develop and permeate. Until that comes place, we can't really say that whatever the total amount is, 15, 20, 30 million dollars, whatever that is, we don't know if we're going to spend that. All we're trying to do is make sure we give as much time and consideration for these projects so we maximize housing, which is really our objective and the mission as I understood this. That's my motion. Clarity?
We have a motion, we have a second.
Mr. Chair, could I
Yeah,
I ask
I want
for,
to add something. I had a question too. Go ahead.
yeah, could I ask for a clarification? So the motion, the reserved amounts for the 3 housing projects, Toll's Garden would be $19.5 million, Sanibel would be $9.75 million. It's the Barrett Park project that we need a number, how much we're reserving for that. I understand the developer has revised.
I thought it was 15.
15?
Revised the request to
15
15, right.
I think they were going to make part of the presentation here. Input is when they met with me, I thought 15 for one of the 72-unit projects was
The desire is certainly to try to get a motion on the floor to let some of the participants that are eagerly awaiting, and there might be some clarity. I was hoping to clarify some of the projects, including the Sanibel project. We've gotten letters from the city council as well as from Representative O'Tanner, and that amount that they need or requested certainly is lower based on the formula we have. So I just want clarity for that. But that's my motion.
May I ask one follow-up, please? I just want to emphasize, again, at some point, you got to fish or cut bait on certain projects, and I know there was certain litmus tests at some of these projects that got in the queue ahead of these projects that we're trying to reintroduce right now. They got ahead of them in line for the first award, cut. They were supposed to have a development order and funding available, and it's been a couple of years since that. So, I mean, there's got to be a certain point where we say we tried, right? But it just didn't work. But I do want to, again, if we want to kick the can on that, that's fine. But I do want to highlight these project considerations and the benefits of the Buckingham Trails Preserve and the SR2 enhancement for DOT. That's a huge thing with the illegal corridor project. I mean, that's a major use of funds to accelerate a road project that we all talk about. Okay. And I know our Mike Greenwell Park is near and dear to all of us, so I don't want to lose sight of that and the Babcock Ranch EMS and fire. I mean, we want to have services out east to be more responsive in times of need. So these are all important things that I think we need to balance in our approach as we close this money out. So I'd like to highlight those projects that I think are really valuable. So with the Greenwell project with a $15 million swing, even if you said, well, let's pencil it in at 45, that may pay for one of these housing projects. That may get one of them offset. But I would like to, and there's $10 million on the culvert and the signpost. That maybe that pays for a second one. But maybe we can look at prioritizing and give some clarity to staff to actually move forward with something a little more substantial determination, if you would consider that.
Okay. Mr. Hammond?
It might be easier to finalize this after public input.
Well, I was going to say, I think it would be, it'd be great to hear from the public, but I also have an idea, thinking about you guys and the conversation that we're having here. It almost would be great to see staff redo this graphic for us with the direction that the motion has, so that we could see, the reserved amounts then, and then see what's left for the additional project considerations that we could start to flow in there. And I don't know if you want to do that at this meeting, or if you want to take another stab at it and have it ready for us at another meeting in the future. If you want to even do a recess, I'm not sure how you want to do that. But it would be easier for me if this page was actually almost dynamic, and we could sit here and plug in the amounts and then see what we have left to flow in there. Because I agree, Commissioner Mullica, these are the additional project considerations. They're great projects, and that's why our staff recommended them and brought them to us. Mm-hmm. I just, my comment earlier was just that maybe it felt like they jumped the gun over some of the housing projects that I wanted to look at first. But it's amazing. There's a finite amount of money here, and it seemed like it was so much when we got it. And now that we're getting towards the end and having to reallocate, you can see how you even have to be smart with this budget too. The other idea that I had while we're talking is I don't know that I have the confidence that we're going to get what we need to put the HMGP money to use. So we've basically got, I think, $130 million in money set aside for HMGP hazard mitigation grant program matching dollars.
I didn't see that on the slide.
Yeah, it's not on this slide, but it was on the other slide, I think. I don't know if they actually called out the 130, but that's what I know from my.
144.
Was it 140?
144.
144. Okay, so Glenn can explain this much better than I can, but if for some reason FEMA and HUD can't get on the same page about these hazard mitigation grant dollars, those dollars might just expire. Like we'd have to find a way to reallocate them. And so my question is, do we want to rely on getting a waiver or an extension to maybe get these hazard mitigation grant dollars, or do we want to maybe look at reallocating some of that right now too, while we still have this urgent need waiver that gives us the flexibility that we need to put money towards these infrastructure projects that we're saying are additional considerations?
Well, that makes absolute sense. I don't know why the $144 million item is not part of this final presentation. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Mr. Wayne, did you have another comment?
I do, just for clarity purposes. Obviously, we put 3 housing projects in. If I understand the screens, we have about $70 million in play because we have two $20 million projects. Is that correct, Glenn?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Give you roughly 65.
So with that in mind, if we have $70 million in play, the 3 housing projects will come in at 43.2. We'll have a remaining 26.8 remaining. The 8.4, obviously, you want to move forward with. That leaves us 18.4. But not only do we have 2 projects in red that are a total of $40 million, okay, on top of even if we allocate everything I just indicated, there's still 18, so that would be 58.4. And any other money may come as a result of somebody, maybe in yellow, saying, I can't get it done. I'm just somewhat hesitant to allocate any more funds in housing, and the recommendations, obviously you asked for an $8.4 million, because I want to see how everything shuffles out. Another month gives us greater clarity. It also allows us the opportunity to see what's remaining, because perhaps with another month, those 2 projects that are $20 million apiece that are in red fall off, and then instead of just having 18 remaining, we have 58 remaining.
Sure.
Considering what we have in mind, and again, you don't know, but if you wanted to do Mike Greenwell's project or some other things, Buckingham, or we have flexibility, especially if those 2 red projects fall off. In addition, based on the way this has gone, there's been other recipients and developers that have said we can't get the project done. So there could be some other fall off right now. But right now, it's clear to indicate that we have 18.4. We probably have another 40 million coming in. And I think if we have a chart to allocate all that and show it clearer for the February meeting, it'd be a lot simpler. But I think my motion is to make sure we move forward with what I think is most essential, the 8.4, what's most essential is the 3 housing projects, the additional consideration for Habitat Humanity. Look at what's remaining. Another month goes by. Glenn, you work very closely with those 2 projects in red. You've certainly indicated that it's going to be a heavy lift in that regard. And perhaps maybe there's some further clarity on any other projects, and maybe there's some shortcomings. Again, I'm just steadfast in making sure we spend it on housing first, and I'm not trying to discount what we have in infrastructure, but housing needs to be the first priority, and that's my priority. Hopefully I've clarified things in my motion.
Thank you. I had a couple questions, Glenn and Dave. So to clarify everything, I support like everybody what we're talking about. Obviously, I thank you all for being here today. Obviously, over the last 3 years, Lee County was devastated from the hurricane, and this results of it. We keep going through this process, and like some of the complaints I heard from not just staff, but from the people in the audience and the lobbyists and the applicants is we keep moving the goalposts. We keep moving. I'm just one concerned about the timelines. We're talking about March and April. We keep moving the goalposts. Is this action today going to help us with that, or lose, or is that going to increase us moving and adding new additional items where we don't get the funding after all? Because we keep moving, it's the complaint I'm hearing from the people in the audience is we're moving the goalposts and things are not happening. So I want to make sure we get every dollar we can for their community and make sure it goes to the right place, but obviously there's a clock ticking, and obviously we don't have no control what happens in DC, so we don't make sure we get that money before it goes away. So is our action today, is this motion going to help us get this completed so we're not still talking about this a year later and we lose funding?
Commissioner Pendergrass, I would continue to urge that we finalize all of our project selection as soon as possible. By the end of March would be incredibly helpful because of the urgent need waiver you know, like you said, we've got and I think it's 131 million and change on HMGP mitigation matching funds. We have 140 plus million of mitigation funding, but some of that's already spoken for through your previous awards. HUD has indicated they are very, they're very sympathetic with our plight on that money, and if they grant an extension for those mitigation funds, it will cover the entire grant. It
Good.
covers everything, not just the mitigation funds.
Make sure
But-
we don't lose it.
Yeah, make sure we don't lose it. But again, that doesn't affect the May urgent need waiver expiration. And we just have to have time, because you know how this works with the action plan amendments that have to be made to move the money around, to select the projects. We just have to have time to get all of that done before that waiver expires.
And all the prior projects, and these projects are like within the city limits of like the City of Fort Myers, Salvation Army, different projects within Cape Coral, those are all managed by those cities within those areas. Anything unincorporated, we manage, correct?
That's correct. They take primary, I mean, obviously, we work very closely with the cities, but they're taking the primary responsibility for them. That's correct.
Great, thank you. Any other questions?
So I know we got to finish the motion we're on.
We got a lot of comments.
I'd like to follow up to this mitigation grant funding, and maybe a separate motion or separate ask for staff, but thank you for bringing that up. Can I just ask a question? I realize these monies may change, you know, the allocation splits depending on these projects, but could we generally agree in your motion that we agree with staff's ranking of the priorities of the following projects? I mean, the numbers may change, but do we agree on their priority list, and as these are the projects we'd like to fold in what we can as these, so that at least they know what the bullseye is of what we intend to spend money on next. Right? The allocations may vary, but do we like the priority list?
Was this presented as a priority list? I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Additional project considerations, Buckingham Trail Preserve.
Are they listed in priority that you'd like to see them funded, or?
Commissioner Hammond, they weren't meant as rank order per se, but it is pretty close in terms of the projects that need to be done versus the ones that would be nice to be done. So
That's
the
gonna
first
have to
two
be-
are projects we have to figure out a way to do, if that makes sense.
And the fourth would also be a project that, you know, we will have to find the funding for public safety specifically. And then ultimately, and this gets back, Commissioner Pendergrass, to the question you asked regarding Commissioner Petrosky's question, is all this depends on obviously how this all plays out. So right now, in our opinion, those top four are probably the biggest priorities. When you get to the Mike Greenwell Regional Park, the big issue is, or the big question for the board is how to move forward. Do we want to spend the $15 million to maintain the existing building, which doesn't really add any life to that structure? It just keeps it in the use that we're using it for now. Or do we want to look at a long-term possibility? With that, I do want to add one caveat when we talk about Mike Greenwell Regional Park and the multi-use facility. The one thing that we wanted to ensure is there has been a lot of conversation about wanting to put a similar structure back in the future. If this decision ever came about to put the multi-use facility in, it would not affect another civic center in the future. Just we don't have the funding, but the way we would put it, the footprint of that facility would not affect the future board direction if they ever chose to do that and put a civic center, and you'd still be able to do that. So I wanted to make sure that's out there. That's how we had designed and thought of that project.
I know there's so many questions and so many agenda items here today, but the $15 million over the next 3 or 5 years you mentioned that we're going to spend, what checkbook is that? Is that general fund, or is that parks, or?
General fund dollars, yes.
Okay. So the $45 to $60 million, there could potentially be an offset of that need for the money we already had in the budget to lower
Correct.
that cost of the need of the project potentially?
Right.
We don't have it funded, that's correct.
That makes this a little more coverage available. You follow my logic? Is that correct? That we
Correct, other than the fact that, you know, the $15 million need isn't funded at the moment. We're trying to program that out as we go. That'll be part of the budget process, but that is the need in order to use that facility in the long haul. We would need to program $15 million over the next 3 years.
in our 5-year plan?
Correct.
Thank you. That's my last question.
Just to follow up, Glenn, so in your opinion, March is really our line of sand, we can't move it, we can't do anything. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir, I think that's...
So really what I was hoping to do is look at this, look at the dollars we have. The 8.4550 I certainly support. The 3 projects, I want to see us work through the process. The 2 projects that are pending are $20 million apiece. Let's look at that. I was hoping that we can get an update in February, clarity, okay? We shuffle dollars, see what it is. There might be some other things that come up as a result. We then can zero in on what we have remaining, and then as a board, as policymakers, we make the priority of what's remaining, because it could be anywhere from 18 million to 58 million. And that's significant, and if there's another project that's in yellow that may fall off, it brings even more money to us and gives us opportunities. But I'm very passionate about making sure we spend every dollar on housing first. And as much as I love infrastructure and know the needs as someone that's lived here for the last 22 years, it's important to make sure we achieve the objective. And let's remember one thing, we're the recipient of 1.1. That doesn't mean we can't go back and ask for additional funds. New York during Sandy went from 5 billion to 13 billion. So the advocacy, as we have other projects, they may be delayed, but there may be some opportunities in trying to secure those. Hopefully I've clarified my motion to some degree.
Okay. Any other comments or questions before we go to public comment? So the public, you hear, we have a motion, a second on the floor that includes all the projects and the 4 additional projects. So I hope that will help you with your comments regarding this item today. So we'll start.
Makes sense.
We'll call you up. You have 3 minutes to speak. The lights will turn yellow at 2.5 minutes and 3 minutes when your time is up. First speaker is Ryan Benson from Sanibel. Ryan Benson. After Ryan, Richard Johnson. Councilman.
Good morning, Ryan.
Hey. Hey, commissioners. Nice to see you all. Congratulations to our newest commissioner. Pleasure to meet you. I'm Ryan Benson, Lee County resident and resident of Sanibel Island. The attorneys will appreciate if I say I am not here in my capacity as the Vice Chairman of Affordable and Workforce Housing for the state of Florida. This is one of the rare instances where a project does not require our state budget for it. That's the CHR project that you brought up, Commissioner. Very much in favor of this project for Sanibel. And it is a very rare instance where these projects aren't coming before my board at the Florida Housing Finance Corporation as well, which is why I'm allowed to speak on it today. When we talk about the viability of projects that we brought up and the ranking of such, that's going to factor into this. So it doesn't appear as though there's much opposition to this Sanibel project, so I will not go into greater detail on that. But the awesome team here at CHR that's supporting it will be able to talk about the specifics of it. I'm very excited as a Sanibel resident to be able to encourage and for once speak in front of a board on behalf of a particular project. Administratively, on the Florida Housing Finance Corporation side, so I'm closing my Sanibel resident spiel. From a timing standpoint, just to clarify the outline, and Glenn and his team are awesome. We worked with them on a number of projects. Glenn and I became fast friends when this first money was allocated. So our board, for these allocations, we're meeting next Friday, and then our next meeting before that March 30th deadline is March 20th. So anything that this commission has for projects that you guys are going to approve that are going to come in front of my board at the Florida Housing Finance Corporation should be done in addition to that. Sorry, I'm almost at time. So just administratively, like, work backwards from that, because what we found out when we were doing these initial allocations, many of the developers said they didn't need the state money that we were allocating, and it turns out a number of them did. So anything is going to need to be approved by our board for that. But I'm not here for that reason. Just wanted to clarify the administrative process and once again support this awesome CHR project right here in our backyard. It's really needed. So thank you very much. Appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Richard Johnson, Councilman Richard Johnson, and after that, William Harkey.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. A special welcome to Commissioner Petrosky. Thank you. My name is Richard Johnson. I sit on the Sanibel City Council. I am a business owner and a resident of both the city of Sanibel as well as Lee County. I enjoyed the conversation today, and I very much appreciate the perspective that has been shared here. And I support this project. Commissioner, as you mentioned, there was a letter from our city council doing exactly that. Everybody else is tied up. Another council member, Laura Bruce, is here with me today. I'm sure she'll speak as well. I'd like to take this just a little bit different and just share some information. This is an organization that over 20 years ago I became part of. I stayed with that organization until I was seated on Sanibel City Council, and at that time it was best that I step away from that board. I have seen this organization go through hard times. I have been one of those people that ran into the burning building early on. Over the last 20 years, what I've seen this organization do is recover themselves with little help from the outside. I have seen a community stand behind this organization, and I've seen the county stand behind this organization as well. I'm very appreciative of the work you've done today. I strongly encourage, I would love to see a 5-0 vote on this today. I think we have the wherewithal to do this. I want to thank all of you for your comments on how we go about this. I have the utmost certainty that this project will be successful. And I ask for your vote on this project today. And I wish to thank you for all the work that you've done up to this point. Appreciate every one of you and what you do here and the tough decisions you make. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is William Harkey, and after that, Elaine Isabel. That's right.
Gentlemen, ma'am, congratulations. I'm William Harkey. I own a condominium on Sanibel Island, and while I no longer physically live on the island, both my wife and I are deeply involved and heavily invested in the island, including community and community housing resources. And I'm here to urge, as others have done, that the County Board of County Commissioners support this CDBG DR funding project for CHR's Riverview 2 housing project. If we're going to recover and rebuild from the devastation of Hurricane Ian, we need a viable workforce, a reliable workforce, and a reliable workforce needs affordable, accessible, local housing. Riverview 2 will add 38 new affordable apartment houses for a workforce that is the lifeblood of Sanibel and Captiva Islands. In case you haven't noticed, they're not making any more land on Sanibel and Captiva. And the repurposing of this former commercial property into affordable housing for our great employees is essential to our continued recovery. I urge you to please support this CDBG DR funding project. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Ellen Israel, I believe it is. Reading this right? Then after that, I will have Wanda McKinnick.
Hi, I'm Ellen Israel, and I'm a recent New York transplant to Sanibel. So I came from the Isle of Manhattan to the Isle of Sanibel, and I'd much rather be on the Isle of Sanibel. I love Sanibel, and I'm so glad to be here. And I just want to say, I love the people who work there. I love my neighbors. I love my community. And we need to see more housing for the people who work, the policemen, the teachers, the people who work in the restaurants where I eat. So I'm just here to be really supportive of CHR. I'm a new ambassador. I'm grateful to be here. Welcome, and welcome to me. And I hope you support this project.
Great, thank you. Wanda. After Wanda, we have Laura DiBruno.
Hi, I'm Wanda McKittrick, and I live on Sanibel. I'm here to support the Community Housing and Resources Riverview 2 project. When people are able to live where they work and serve, they become neighbors, not just employees, and passing through. They need stable housing that allows people to focus on their work, their health, and their role in the community instead of worrying about where they have to live. I respectfully ask the Board of the County Commissioners to support the CDBG funding for the Riverview 2 project. Housing gives the people the stability to keep showing up for this island and support that they need.
Great. Laura Bruno? Bruce. And after that, we have John Ledoux.
So, good morning.
Morning.
My name is Laura DeBruce. I stand here today as a member of Sanibel City Council, as well as a resident and small business owner. Thank you to the 5 of you for all you do for Lee County, and congratulations, Commissioner Petrosky. So since this area was devastated by Hurricane Ian, and then 2 years later sideswiped and gut punched by Hurricanes Helene and Milton, there's been tremendous project, and thanks in part to your leadership. Our small island is a symbol of hope and light, and we're also a source of great tourism revenue for all of Lee County. We're recovering more every day, but we need your help. Sanibel has long championed the cause for affordable housing, and we're a model, in fact, in the state of Florida. Affordable housing is what helps us in Sanibel keep our charming and eclectic mix of mom and pop shops. That's what helps make Sanibel Sanibel. The small businesses support the nonprofits that support our beautiful environment. We are all interconnected. 2026, I'm happy to report from the small business point of view, looks like it could be a banner year. The small businesses are already saying that we had a great December break, and it looks like we could be coming back as strong as we were before Ian. But to do that, we need employees. And our employees, of course, need a place to live, and we need CHR. Our Sanibel plan, as everyone knows, focuses a lot on the environment. But the Sanibel plan also emphasizes that we need a diversified sense of community. Our vision statement mentions that we also embrace our economic diversity. It's in your hands to help us do that, to maintain what we have, and to finally reach our goal of 3% of our housing deemed affordable housing. So I urge you to support, and thank you, as it seems you are going to do so, our request for the $9.75 million. And thank you for all that you do for all of us in Lee County.
Great, thank you. John? And after John, we have Marcus Goodson. Morning, sir.
Commissioners, nice to see you again.
Good morning.
John Nato, President and CEO of Goodwill. I'm here to speak on behalf of Residents 2, one of the items in red. Affordable housing, workforce housing, very important. I agree with Commissioner Wayne, it's the #1 priority. But the most underserved population in this county is actually people with disabilities. And Residents 2 is the one project that I'm aware of that attacks that problem. We actually have 16 housing units, about 300 apartments for people with disabilities in this community. We have about a 5-year waiting list for those people to get in there. And the picture I always like to draw is if you go home tonight and think about navigating through your home or your apartment in a wheelchair and what that would be like if you didn't have the proper setup. And Residents 2 is going to provide housing for people with disabilities. It'll be next to our campus where we have services for people with disabilities. So this is one project I think needs to stay on the list. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcus Goodson. After Marcus, Richard Aiken.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, County Commissioners, County Manager and staff, Council and staff. For the record, Marcus Goodson, Lee County Housing Authority. I just wanted to stand up and thank you first for including Barrett Park in your motion. We certainly appreciate that. I did want to clarify that the request was $15 million to build 72 senior units. I also would like to thank you for the $7 million that we received in housing rehab funds through the DR program, excuse me. That's going to end up being a $45 million project. So I just want to acknowledge the fact that we are using these DR funds to leverage additional funding, which I think is the intent of the program. and we're doing that at Lee County Housing Authority. We have a strong local team. Corbin Henderson, former Mayor Henderson team, is on the development with us as well. We're represented by Richard Aiken, Henderson Franklin, so we are strong locally. We're excited about the project, and thank you for the consideration. If you have any questions, I'll happily take those right now.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard Aiken? You good? Okay. Allison Goss? And after Allison, we have Chauncey Goss.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Commissioners. My name is Allison Goss, and I'm a resident of Sanibel, and someone who understands that a healthy community and is a well-rounded community and a diverse community. Like many of our neighbors, we lost our home in Hurricane Ian and had to leave the island as part of recovery. We rebuilt and are back on the island now, but not everyone has been as fortunate as us. There is a tremendous need for workforce housing that is resilient and storm tough. CHR's request for funding for Riverview 2 makes perfect sense. It uses the federal taxpayer money Congress gave us to restore and improve low-income or workforce housing in an area that was one of the hardest hit by Ian. If this isn't what these funds were for, I can't imagine what it is. Please support CHR's request. Thank you.
Thank you. Chauncey? After Chauncey, Marcellus, you have a card too for this? Yep.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. You get the whole family today. Thank you. And Ms. Petrosky, welcome, and thank you so much for your services, County. I really look forward to working with you. I rise in support. My name is Chauncey Goss, I'm a resident of Sanibel. Rise in support of Commissioner Wayne's motion. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for what you brought to us. And I want to give a little bit of context to what Commissioner Hammond was saying, because I think it's so important, because you made a really good point. And you said, look, we got $1.1 billion from the federal government. This is money that we asked our congressional delegation to go and get for us. We ended up getting it from Housing and Urban Development. maybe not the most nimble of organizations to distribute this money. Maybe FEMA would have been better, but we'll take what we get. But of that 1.1, $549 million is for housing. That's a lot of money for housing. And when I looked at that chart earlier, and some of the charts earlier, I saw that there's no money for housing on the Barrier Islands right now, zero. So with your 11.75, if you vote to give that to the city of Sanibel or to CHR on this, that takes us up to 1.7% of the $549 million. So it's not exactly a big ask for the area that was the hardest hit, and I hope you all support the Commissioner's motion. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Next speaker is Erica Steiner. Erica Steiner.
Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you for hearing us. I'm Erica Steiner. I'm the president of Community Housing and Resources. I'm also the vice chair of Sanibel's Planning Commission. I am going to try really hard not to repeat things that have already been said before, and I certainly appreciate the consideration that you've given for our $9.75 million project. This would be 39 affordable housing units. We are shovel-ready. We are in the process of purchasing the land. We close on our land buy in 3 weeks from today. And one thing that nobody really has mentioned yet is that this is a very strategic location for Sanibel. The former fish house is contiguous with our Riverview 1 property. So in addition to building these 39 new units, it will be sort of married to the 15 units that we are building right next door, and this will create a workforce hub for Sanibel. We're a smaller community than some of the others that you're hearing from, but we are in dire need of workforce housing. We welcome about 1.2 million visitors a year, and these are the people that serve at the restaurants and take care of essential services for the island. So in addition to serving our residents, these workers serve a number of annual visitors. So I wanted to also say that we are trying to economize on the work that we're already doing at the Harkey House. You met Mr. Harkey. That is our Riverview 1 project. So we are taking architectural designs and we're taking our project management group and moving it basically next door. So we feel that we will be able to easily meet our commitment to finish this project by July of 2028, and we are confident that we will be able to fill that building. Our State of the Island meeting was held last week, and in it we learned that our residential community is coming back pretty strong, but our commercial is currently lacking because they've been waiting for the residents to come back. So as our commercial starts building up again, we're going to have more and more need for housing, and the island simply can't run without a workforce. So I also wanted to thank the assistant manager, Salyer, because he's been very helpful to us, as all of the commissioners have been. We appreciate your help. And I guess in conclusion, it's a project that has no startup risk. We have the land, we have the capability, we have the people, and I urge you to take this forward for us. Thank you.
All right, our next speaker is Kevin Barha. Forgive me if I...
That's okay. Good morning, Commissioners.
Hey, Chief.
For the record, my name is Kevin Barbeau. I'm the Fire Chief with Sanibel Fire and Rescue District. I'm actually here on behalf of the Board of Fire Commissioners for the Sanibel Fire District to show support for CHR as well. I really appreciate the words, really your stance, your position on this. Really welcomed, we need it. I'm speaking today. Affordable housing has reached an all-time high here across the county. We all know that. I know my people internally are struggling to find housing that's affordable, especially with wages just not keeping up with rent. So this is really a need that we need. It's really become a struggle for everyday workforce, and it's really important that we maximize on the funding that's allocated from this HUD grant towards affordable housing. Any initiative that provides relief for our people is worthy. CHR provides essential infrastructure that allows our first responders and the employees that serve our needs and the community's needs to be able to live where they serve and be able to stay right here in this county, which is very important. Supporting CHR is a long-term investment in Sanibel, but also in the county because of the importance that Sanibel plays with county and tourism has been relayed. We ask that you prioritize this funding to ensure that our community remains a place where those who serve can actually afford to live as well. As of right now, we don't have a single employee that actually lives on the island. Everybody commutes. We're hoping that by adding additional workforce housing that we can go ahead and make a shift and assist in getting that done. I have personally witnessed the good that this organization has done over the years on the island, and it does nothing but great things. On a stance where is our island currently, we're back to a call volume where we were pre-Ian. So things are moving. Things are definitely going. So emergency services are ramping up. And last but not least, thank you so much for the last 3 years. It's been challenging for every single one of us with all the storms that come our way. This HUD project has definitely tasked you guys with a lot of work, and we appreciate all the work that you've done and continued support. Thank you.
Thanks for keeping us safe. Next speaker, Rachel Eiler.
Thank you guys so much. It's such a relief to have heard your support for housing for this money. You obviously know the importance of the housing, so I'm here to tell you more about me because I know it's really important for you and for staff to know how we're going to get this project done. My name's Rachel Bielert, and I'm the project manager tasked to achieve this goal. When I met with Mr. Saylor and Chris Davis in the middle of November and was told the difficulties with the timing and the restraints for this funding, I went back to the board of CHR and in different words pretty much said, hold my beer. Since then, I've put together a team, a design team, who has answered the call of the task for this difficult time frame. I'm already in for permit, for conditional use permit, We have a clean Phase 1 environmental done already. I've met with the fire chief and talked about the layout for life safety and how they can best serve this new community that we can build. I have a endangered protected species report, came back clean. I have soils borings done to support the design team for my structural engineer and my architect. We've redesigned the building from Riverview 1 to make it a more resilient building by doing a precast structure. A precast structure can be delivered and built in less than 30 days. That means we can start on a build out. I can make this time frame. I've provided a Gantt chart that shows that if I was just left to my druthers with the money, I could have this project done and built, ready to have homes for people in this community by July of 28. That gives us 6 months of time to deal with any of the minutia that we have to deal with the housing requirements and red tape. It gives us time to deal with the occasional storm that we have all sustained and shown that we can answer the call. Last week, I had a call from Mr. Cillier who told me that we had a little bit more constraints around the funding availability and that we needed to cap our amount at $9.75 million. In 48 hours, I got together with my team, redesigned a plan, sat down with the CHR board, got their approval to move forward with the plan, got my team to back me up, that they could provide everything I needed to revise our plan to the city council. I met with the head of planning. She agreed that these changes that I needed to make were not substantial enough to hinder our progress for planning commission, and we're back on track. We can do this project. I can do this project. I have the community, I have the support of a great CHR board and team, and with your support, failure is not going to be an option.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Michael Allen, and after Michael, Jenna Higginbotham.
Good morning, Commissioners. Michael Allen, Revital Development Group. I'm here to speak on the Residence 2, which is one of the 2 housing projects in red. But first, just a quick general update in terms of some of the stuff over the past winter break I'm excited to share with you as well. At the annual Lead Builders Industry Association Awards, Revital received the Grand Award for Developer of the Year, so it was a great honor. And then Multifamily Housing News, a national publication, selected Civitas of Cape Coral as their Affordable and Workforce Housing Development of the Year. So that was amazing recognition. We used CDBG DR funds for Hurricane Irma on that project. And then our Hermosa North Fort Myers development, we just started pre-leasing that, and that's going to be the first affordable housing development in the state of Florida to receive the Fortified certification, which is design standards, the highest design standards for resiliency against natural disasters such as hurricanes. So appreciate all that, because that recognition and accomplishment couldn't be done without the board, county staff, and our partnership there. So we continue that commitment and durability and products with what we're delivering here today, including the residence. I think the residence is, just like all these other affordable housing developments, important need for our community, although my opinion is I think it's probably one of the most impactful. Of the 140 units, we have 25% of the units, 25% of the units, which is 35 units, set aside for individuals with developmental disabilities. At the evaluation meeting for selections, we said, if we receive this funding, we may be able to leverage this with the state to get additional funding. We were successful at doing that. We got a state award to build an additional 60 units, which is the residence phase 1, of which 50% of those units are for individuals with developmental disabilities. So 65 units for individuals with developmental disabilities adjacent to the future Goodwill home with on-site services and at Goodwill as well. So there's not another development like that, not only funded from disaster recovery, but in Lee County as a whole. So we're thrilled about that. Some of the items in terms of the holdups here, we did mention early on at the evaluation committee, we were probably the furthest behind. We were just at a conceptual stage, so we are a little bit further behind. It is supportive housing, so that takes a little bit further time. We also had some items to work through with the city of Fort Myers in terms of our site plan. We've gone through that. We've submitted our permits, received first round of comments. On the summary, there's a couple items I'd like to update as well. It talks about the bonds that we'd have to go seek as well. At last Thursday's Lee County Housing Finance Authority meeting, the board approved the issuance of our bonds, so now they have to go to the TEPRA hearing. They'll be presenting that to you guys, I'm assuming, during like a March board meeting. So that process has moved down the road as well. Site plan, our civil engineers have spoken to the city in terms of those outstanding items, so it looks like the final site plan is there, so we can move forward with that aspect of the environmental review. So project is moving forward. We look to break ground hopefully later this summer, and we're excited about that and appreciate your ongoing support in what we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Jenna, and after Jenna, Nicole McKell.
Hello everyone, my name is Jenna, and my family and I live on Sanibel. My husband works in residential construction on the island with my father, and my mother runs a nonprofit based on Sanibel, and my sister owns a cafe, the Sanibel Sprout. I have grown up loving Sanibel Island and the amazing opportunities that it provides to visitors, business owners, and families. I was personally impacted by Hurricane Ian and Milton, both causing me to lose my belongings and housing on Sanibel due to the storm surge. After these storms, the reality of living on Sanibel was becoming increasingly inaccessible. Costs were skyrocketing beyond my family's means. CHR has provided me a stable home for my husband, my 2-year-old, and myself. Not only did CHR provide an affordable housing for our family, but a secure quality of life in our community that we are so grateful for. I'm here to support CHR's endeavor to provide more affordable housing to our Sanibel community through Riverview 2. This project allows more people to remain in or even join our island community and continue rebuilding back the island I get to call home. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you. Next is Nicole. After Nicole, we have Ken Evers.
Good morning, commissioners and staff. I want to thank you so much. This is a huge endeavor for you to take on. Having our communities that were so devastated, we really appreciate all the communication that we've had with everybody. I'm Nicole McHale. I'm the Executive Director of Community Housing and Resources on Sanibel. Workforce housing. Workforce housing is part of the economic resiliency to our community, Lee County as a whole. We need workforce housing. We've had 33 businesses reach out to us looking for employees to support their businesses. They want to come back to the island, they want to open up, but they're limited in the hours that they can open, and they're trying to determine if they're going to have a workforce to support. Can we fill what we want to build? Yes. 2024, we had 150 inquiries for housing. 2025, we had 100 inquiries for housing. We have a wait list of 17 people right now. We will have no problem filling this housing. CHR prides itself on partnerships in the community. This month, we will be housing the Lee County EMTs while they demolish the Firehouse 171. We will be housing the EMTs for 2 years. We like to be able to have that partnership, and we understand how important it is to have first responders on our islands. Over 10% of our residents do not own a vehicle. They bike and walk to work. And that supports the county's triangle communities that you are looking to implement. Live, work, and shop in your community. Building this project will give us better ingress and egress for our project that's underway right now. And I'm proud to say that I stood on the first floor of that project the other day, which was amazing. It's moving along. We'll be done by the end of this year. Having the project next door will afford us the opportunity to build 39 more apartments and a live local. We will have space, commercial space on that property. It will generate tax revenue. I just want to thank you for your time and for listening to us today. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. Next is Ken Evers.
Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Ken Evers. I am a construction committee member for CHR. I also am on the board of directors for a condominium association on Sanibel, and I have 35 years background in commercial construction and development. The need for housing has been well addressed and well spoken. I won't go into that too much further, but I will give you a little bit of firsthand knowledge. Our condominium association struggles to find and retain employees, substantially because of the long travel time and the difficulty in getting to and from the island, especially at peak times. Having employees that live on the island is a benefit for everyone, and it reduces traffic as well. Ms. Bielart was very, Ms. Bielart explained how she can ensure that we meet the time frame for this project. It is a difficult time frame, but I'm confident that if these funds are approved, we will be able to meet the time frame without difficulty. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers for number 68? Any other speakers? Okay, we'll come back to the board. We'll close public comment. We have a motion, we have a second. I believe staff has complete direction now. We're good. Okay, any other discussions or questions?
I just had one question. So I love all the projects. I'm glad that we're trying to keep everything alive that we can. You know, these projects are, if we didn't like the project to begin with, they wouldn't have made it on the list to begin with, right? So we saw a lot of value in these projects, and I hope everybody gets to succeed. And I think today's projects are also valuable. One question I had on the Sanibel project, and that was really great to hear the project manager speak with such confidence in the building of that. The price per unit on that is substantially higher than a lot of the units that we've looked at, and I know it's on Sanibel, but I just wanted to ask, the funding asked on that has been kind of multiple numbers over the last couple of weeks, 5, 10, 15, back to 9. If there's anything that can be done on the design or value engineering to tighten that up, I would just appreciate whatever opportunity you might find, because we're trying to sprinkle money to everybody that we can to help everybody succeed that we can. So, but I do support all the projects, and thank you for the great dialogue and discussion today. I think that was really well done.
Okay, great. We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Thank you. Number 69.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is to approve fund balance adjustments and budget carryovers for fiscal year 25-26. I'd like to ask Mr. Winton to present the item.
Commissioners, this item is a result of closing the year-end books for fiscal year 24-25. So we replace all the September 30th numbers with we replace the budget with actual numbers. And then what that does is it gives us a new reserves numbers after we apply the budget for 25-26. So we have new reserve numbers, and I know that the general fund is the one that everybody keeps their eye on. It's the most expendable reserve, or discretionary reserve, I should say. So we have, and then this item also carries over budget for major maintenance and projects that have been previously approved but have not been completed yet. So this is the new general fund reserves number. That's the reserves that will be as of September 30th, 2026. As you recall, during the budget, the sheriff had requested $8.4 million. In capital, we budgeted $2 million, and then just asked them, we said, we think the reserves are going to be good, but please hold off. We can decide later after we see the reserves, your full capital number, and that's what it is, an additional $6.4 million. And then after the year-end close, we did receive from the property appraiser a request for renovation of the old United Telephone building. We knew that that the property appraiser was intending to do renovations. We didn't know when and how much, and so that's the number that he has requested us, and we got that request about October 15th. So those are two items for your consideration to adjust the reserves, and then after that, we just kind of like to hold the balance and talk about the excess reserves during your annual planning session. This reserve next year, these excess reserves next year at January 2027, I don't anticipate them to be as high. We had a couple events that happened this year, one being that we collected double what we typically do in ambulance fees because our biller had had a cyber attack in 2024, and we didn't collect ambulance fees for more than 6 months. And so we went back and billed that this past year and received those revenues. So we collected double our ambulance fees. We collected more in property tax revenues. And then the BoCC departments essentially returned $7.2 million that was unspent from their budgets. So with that.
Any questions for staff at this time on this item?
Chairman, I'll move approval as presented.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to second. Any other discussions, any questions, any public comment on item 69?
Mr. Chair, if I may. Gentlemen, if I might ask you to respectfully amend your motion to consider deferring the property appraiser renovation line item for a future meeting so that the property appraiser can be here in person to present the item and the costs and the project overall. I would appreciate it. When I tried to reach out to him to discuss this item, he offered to make a public presentation to us, but he was not able to be here today because he had commitments in Tallahassee. So were it not for that, he'd be here today to discuss this project history, the timeline, the needs, the square footage, and the project overall. But I have a little bit of personal questions and reluctance in funding taxpayer dollars to improve a building that we're leasing from somebody else. And I'd like to know more about the structure of the deal, because I'd feel better if we were doing an improvement on our own facility with that money. It would be my first choice, but we're spending $3.2 million to renovate 11,000 square feet of a 30,000 square foot lease right now that he's paying $50,000 a month on without this improvement. So there's a lot of unanswered questions on here, and he offered to make a public presentation to let us make a better informed decision. So I would just ask that we honor his request to make that presentation.
So without the basis of the questions now, but your request is to hold that until he can do, and he's willing to do a presentation? He's
Yes,
to do a presentation?
I want to approve everything except the approval of that funding to allow that to be, that particular item to be deferred for discussion with the property appraiser to make his own presentation for his own ask.
Would that be up to the motion maker to either amend it or not?
May I ask a few questions, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Hunter, do you or anybody on our administration team know how long the lease is for this building?
I do not. Pete, do you know?
No.
No, I don't know, but we can get you that information.
The other question I have is so it's not out of line or I guess uncommon practice for us to lease a facility and make improvements to the facility that we've leased, correct? We've done that in the past.
Yes, we've done a number of scenarios where when we lease the property, we have the leaser do the renovations, or in this case, we have done this as well. It just depends on the scenario.
Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, obviously, if it's a facility with a long-term lease where you could amortize these improvements over a long period of time, that would make a tremendous amount of sense. I look at I guess I would be interested, we just spent money to improve a building that we own, Admin East, right? But that was close to, what, over $1.5 million, $1.6 million? So, I mean,
One earlier?
Yeah, earlier today. So
Same size job, we're paying 1.8, and this is 3.2.
Yeah.
Both
So
11,000 square feet.
You know, it's weird. It's something that we haven't done before, but sure, if you want to call Matt in here and have him explain it, I don't think that's a big problem. No, that's fine. I don't know, we typically have approved these in the past when the sheriff brings us capital requests, or the constitutionals have brought us capital requests.
So respectfully, gentlemen, the other heartburn I have over this is, as you know, the property appraiser was in all of our budget meetings from the beginning of April to the closeout of final on September 15th, and to not know that this ask was coming until October 3rd to present it as even a placeholder item in our budgets, to me, strikes me a little flat-footed, and I just would like to understand why it would be, why it wasn't mentioned in any of our discussions of budget all year long. He was in again, he pitched all 9 innings.
So without going into detail again about the budget, the square footage, if the property is asked to come here, I mean, it'd be great to have all the constitutionals come.
I'm basically honoring his request to make a presentation.
If he wants to come here, I don't see a problem with that, just for transparency reasons, but it's up to the motion maker, the seconder, to either amend it or not. But I think the question would be, you know, if you want to do a presentation, unfortunately couldn't be here today, but, you know, if he wants to do it, then I would obviously welcome any of the constitutionals to come here every week. Usually the clerk's here every week, but he's not here today. But it's great to have the constitutionals more engaged with us too.
What is the seconder?
You know, listen, I appreciate the comment. You're right, Commissioner Hammond. We've been up here and many times have we approved projects. So I think what's missing in this and gives me any consternation is just to understand the term of the lease. And that's probably really important because I hope it's a lengthy term for us to understand that. If I knew that answer, I might certainly be able to move forward with my decision. But with not knowing that answer, I'll probably hold off on moving this forward till I know that answer.
Okay. I'll amend my motion then to approve everything as presented and then request that the staff reach out to the property appraiser's office to ask him to make a presentation about this item at our next commission meeting. And that's my motion.
I'll second that.
And is everybody okay with the sheriff's capital? I was already briefed on that one in the past, so we have any questions about that?
We knew that was coming, yeah.
The sheriff's capital, final capital.
It is interesting. I would just point out, Mr. Chairman, we have, I guess, different leases from the constitutionals all over the county. We haven't put any of them through that same level of scrutiny. And maybe if this is going to be a new way of going forward, that'd be good to go. Typically, we don't get in and micromanage the constitutionals' budgets and individual projects that they bring forward to us. We look at the amount of excess reserves we have, and if we have the ability to be able to fund their request, we typically do. This is definitely a higher level of micromanagement, if you will, on a constitutional than I've seen us do, but not opposed to it.
Well, respectfully, I might remind the gentleman that we had the clerk's remodel that came in at $4 million, and we asked staff to revisit that project and value engineer that, and EHAB and the team put that together and saved the taxpayers $600,000 within 4 weeks. So I think this exercise of reviewing these projects to keep taxpayer dollars protected in the general fund, I think, is a healthy exercise.
Excellent.
In the spirit of Commissioner Hammond's comments, and I respect Commissioner Mulliker's, you know, if I had the lease, I'd move forward with this if I knew the term. That's really the only thing in consternation. And I'm not, you know, generally in my briefings, I've always asked those questions, and somehow I missed this one, so it's on me.
Okay, great. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comments? Any other public comment on item 69? No, come back forward. Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. Number 70.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item is to approve issuance of IDA hospital revenue and refunding bonds for Lee Health. I'd like to ask Mr. Mark Moore to present the item.
Thank you, Mr. Harner. Good morning, Commissioners. This morning's administrative item number 70 seeks the board's approval of a resolution authorizing the Lee County Industrial Development Authority, IDA, to issue hospital revenue and revenue refunding bonds for the benefit of Lee Health System Incorporated. These bonds are not to exceed $475 million and will be used to finance and refinance healthcare facility improvements to include a new medical campus in Fort Myers, a refund of outstanding 2019 hospital revenue bonds, funding required interest and reserves, and payment of the cost of issuance. It is important to note these bonds are payable solely via the revenues of the Lee Health System and do not constitute either a debt nor obligation for Lee County. EDO staff, as well as the IDA's counsel and Lee Health officials, are present should you have any questions. Thank you.
Any questions for staff?
I'll move the item.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Any public comment on item 70? Come back to the board. Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Michael and staff and council, for being here. Thank you for your patience.
New hospital's looking great.
Item 71.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item is to adopt resolution and approve a state of local emergency to enact a burn ban. I'd like to ask Mr. Benjamin Ames to present the item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Benjamin Avis, Public Safety. This item asks you to adopt a resolution to initiate a burn ban in accordance with Lee County Ordinance 18-09. That burn ban was requested by the Florida Forest Service and the Lee County Fire Chiefs Association. Right now, the drought index is 637, which is above our required minimum of 600. This burn ban includes campfires, bonfires, trash burning, and other similar open incineration. And usually we're coming to you in April or May asking for this burn ban. Unfortunately, 2025 was the 7th driest year in the last 131 years. And so we are at a very significant rain deficit, and we've had very little rain since January 1st. So we do expect this burn ban to be in place for at least 3 to 4 months. It's important to note that this burn ban does not impact any state authorized or regulated burning that falls under the purview of the Florida Forest Service. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for staff? Okay, thank you. Any public comment on item 71? Come back forward. Any objection? Objection, motion carries. Thank you. Number 72.
Who made the motion, Mr. Chair?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll
Been
make
a
the
long
motion.
morning.
I'll second it.
Got a motion second. Any public comment?
Good call.
Come back to the board. Any objections? Okay. Just burn right through that one, didn't we? No pun intended there.
See what you did.
Number 72.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is to provide direction for Burnt Store Road safety improvements. I'd like to ask Mr. Rob Price to present the item.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rob Price with DOT. This item requests direction from the board on interim safety improvements on the 2-lane section of Burnt Store Road from Van Buren Parkway north to the county line. We evaluated 3 different types of safety measures. Those measures include rumble striping, passing lanes, and paved shoulders. We also included a 4th option that looked at a combination of all 3 of those measures. Based on our review of the crash data, staff recommends moving forward with installing rumble stripes on the edge lines and the center line to reduce lane departure vehicles until the 4-lane improvement can be completed. After installation, we'll continue to monitor the safety improvements along Burnt Store Road and bring back any additional improvements as necessary. I am available if you do have questions.
Any questions for staff at this time?
Yeah, Chairman, could you outline say we went with option 4, could you outline the timeline by which you would accomplish all of that work and how long it would take?
Timeline-wise would be, well, we've already designed the work. So whichever option the board picks right now, we'll be able to go to bid almost immediately. We'd be bringing it back probably within 3 to 6 months for award. Options 2, 3, and 4 are going to take us longer to construct, probably a year, I would think. And all of that work is going to be work that, once we go to the 4-laning option, will be kind of throwaway work. We won't be able to utilize any of that widened pavement.
And I have a question on, if you were to go with like an option 2, 3, or 4, especially where you're talking about the shoulders and the passing lane, would you envision any kind of traffic lane closures? I mean, it's only 2 lanes as it is.
There would certainly be some impacts to traffic. We would try to keep all that at night. And it's possible that we could do some temporary roadways once we design it and we get with the contractor, where we could basically shift traffic over so we can do the work on the shoulders. So I think we would maximize the area that we have to implement it with as little impacts to traffic as possible.
Okay, sounds good. That's my questions.
Mr. Chair, if I may, how long does option 1 take to get finished, started finished?
It's probably going to take a month or 2 to complete once we award the contract.
So you have to bid that?
Yes, sir. It's over $100,000, so we would have to bring it back to the board.
Okay, so it wouldn't qualify for a small project that we could just award to one of our existing vendors?
It would. We'd have to look at our contracts just to see. We haven't had that conversation yet with procurement as to how we would implement, but we have designed the work in-house.
Fair enough. One other rookie question I had on this. Would it be worth considering making the 5-mile area a no passing zone for safety purposes, just making it a double yellow line? Does that
It's
help
something that
safety numbers or not help safety numbers? I'm asking.
So it could have an impact. Generally, when you eliminate passing zones, you see additional driver aggression, so it could actually make the road less safe just by eliminating all the passing zones. Interestingly enough, adding passing lanes actually does reduce the crash factors. What we have found is that the rumble striping has the most bang for your buck. But you can, all of these measures will actually reduce the crash factors on the road.
Yeah, no, I'm all for getting everywhere as safely, quickly as possible, but it was just a an honest question, does it make it better or worse for no passing zones? If they just knew they had to be patient and wait until they got to the 4-lane, does that improve driver behavior or not? I know you study all these things.
Yeah, generally it improves or it increases driver aggression.
Right.
And I'll withdraw my request.
Creates the
That's the opposite of what I wanted to do.
Creates an environmental opportunity to go faster. Rob, I have a question. The paved shoulders on the option 4, was that to add bicycle lanes and pedestrian access, or just this for more pavement? Because I'm not sure how that would help reduce crashes if the extra pavement on the shoulders.
Paved shoulders, wider paved shoulders will give you more of a recovery area if you do exit the lane.
Okay.
Also, there was a comment that was made by the Burnt Store Coalition this morning and some other meetings that we've had with them about the inability for the Sheriff's Department and the KPD to actually park on the right-of-way to write tickets. They're indicating that that's one of the reasons they haven't been enforcing quite as much, because there's nowhere for them to actually pull cars over. So paved shoulders would provide us additional recovery area and a safer place for those type of law enforcement
How wide would it be,
actions.
the paved shoulders? Would it be 4 foot, would it be 12 foot? Would it be enough for a vehicle without slowing down traffic with the new pass lane laws?
What we designed was 4 feet,
Okay.
additional 4-foot paved shoulders.
Okay, thank you.
Question?
Which one?
So Rob, with the option number 4, obviously if we were to consider that, you would move forward with the striping right away. It just looks like the other items may be something that probably would eke into the next budget year, not this budget year. Is that correct?
Well, if we were going to go with option 4, we would have to be careful where we would put the rumble striping.
Okay.
Because if we were going to be adding paved shoulders, we don't want to put the rumble stripes in and have to come back and redo it. So we probably would maybe just look at the center line at that point while we're implementing the other improvements. So it would probably take us a year and a half to finish.
Yeah, my consternation over this is trying to do everything we can to try to strengthen and improve the safety on Burnstow Road. It just seems like that element, the paved shoulder, is missing, and that's what I struggle with.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I may too, I agree. I think we actually need everything that's in option 4, the paved shoulders, to provide that recovery zone and that more margin for error. I mean, that's what I find as I drive the stretch. The speeds are so high, and driver aggression is actually high in this area too. And because of that, you need more margin for error. And so when you look at the suggested improvements here, a passing lane, you know, I think people would be able to wait until they got to that passing lane to go ahead and pass then, and you wouldn't have so many people pulling out into head-on traffic and then causing a very scary situation. So I would make a motion to approve option number 4 and move forward with that and give us those paved shoulders, the passing lane, and the rumble stripes.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion second. I have a question. Rob, you're the expert here, and you gave us a lot of options here. Why would you, I see staff recommendation option 1, why was your option 1 chosen over the other options? Was it because of short term, we know we widen the road in the future? What was the purpose of that? The reason behind that?
In our opinion, for $140,000, the rumble striping, there's 30 studies that have been done that show that it has a 43% reduction in crashes. So that's a lot of reduction in crashes for a small amount of money. So our thought was, let's implement that, and then we can monitor, see how we're doing with the crashes, and then we can come back and add in some of those other items later if we weren't having the impact that we hoped.
So with option 4, we have a motion on the floor for, that includes all those options, including rumble strips. So will be some of the road that will not have the rumble strips because of the widening passing lanes or paved shoulders, or will it also have the rumble strips? You were talking about having to go back and redo it.
No, if we go with option 4, we will do the rumble stripes everywhere as we're doing the improvement.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other questions?
So, yeah, if I may, like I said, I want to make Burnstow safer. We've been talking about this, I mean, since 1992, we were going to have it 4-lane anytime now. So driving up and down that road my whole life. But I also try to make sure we're not throwing away money. You know, if we can accelerate the project, if we do these improvements, and then how soon thereafter could we start the real job? To what would the interim be before we started back over again to build the real actual improvements? I mean, is there years in between those times? Because then maybe the throwaway money isn't so costly if it's going to be 18 months
Mr. Chair?
to start the job or finish the job.
Yeah, if I may answer that, I don't think we have a clear time frame, because I think that what we're looking at is, we have a time frame of when burnt store will be done. What we're looking at is the potential of doing burnt store earlier. We don't really have that completely fleshed out, because we're looking at when we look to bond the Cape Coral Bridge, can we potentially bond burnt store at the same time? So that is still a work in progress, and I don't think we can give you a date at this point. The date for the project itself to begin and end is...
Was it 8 to 10 years was where
Yes.
we were at from a budget perspective when we can fund it?
And the earliest we would be able to do this...
I thought we pushed that up to this next 5 years, is why tier 1. I thought we had made more progress than that, Commissioner Hammond. I apologize.
So if we do get the direction from the board to expedite this road project through the process we're working on, the earliest that road project is still 3 years out, correct?
Oh, it's set up for design build. We're gonna have design build criteria package and 60% plans in the next couple months. So we literally could award a contract as we go through the procurement process this coming year if we had the funds.
The completion date, how long was the completion project?
3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years would be, the project would be complete, so that plays into the discussion of when do you want the safety improvements versus waiting for the new road.
So in a perfect world, 3 to 4 years out, and things never go as perfect as we want to with road projects. I mean, they're just because they're very complicated beasts, right? So optimistic, 4 to 5 years, up to 8 to 10 years, we've had this window, right? So to spend a little money now to get an 8-year improvement window, to me, does make sense. So with that, I was reluctant at first that we're going to, by the time we finish this one, we're going to start throwing it away to build a new one, and that was a trigger point for me, but I'm good. I support your motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Any other discussion? Any public comment on this item? Item 72. So we have motion second this time. No public comment. Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. 73.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item is to provide direction for Del Prado Boulevard median landscaping improvements, and I'd like to ask Mr. Price to present the item again.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rob Price again with DOT. This item brings back Del Prado Boulevard median in treatment landscaping for formal direction. With your consensus, we'll use in-house forces to begin cleaning up the in treatments of the medians by removing some of the current plantings, replacing with some smaller flowering shrubs, and adding shell to enhance the appearance. Work is expected to cost less than $400,000 and would be performed with in-house forces and over the course of the next 6 months to a year. I'm available if you have any questions.
Any questions for Rob at this time?
I'll move the item.
Second.
We have motion second. Rob, I have a question. So when will the work start on this? Immediately after season or